Hey, welcome back to the study. Last week we were talking about N.T. Wright's study as he tackles some tough issues. One of the great scholars of our time, N.T. Wright. So certainly not on that same level, I don't think, with N.T. Wright. I do try the best I can to give us some good, solid biblical teaching, and especially with hard passages. So last week we looked at Hebrews 6 through 8, that passage that really challenges us, can we fall away? So whether or not we can, the devotion last week asked and challenged us to be devoted to not fall away. If it be possible, let's be devoted not to fall away. So now we look at a few verses past that. I really appreciate the writer of Hebrews. We don't know who that is. Some people say it's Paul. Some people say it's not. It was written to, we believe, both Gentile and Jewish Christians. The original letter was entitled To the Hebrews. So that was how it was titled. We now shorten it to Hebrews. But this next few verses, I do appreciate a very hard warning. Do not fall away. If you do, it's impossible to be restored back. And this passage that we look at this today is this encouragement that follows it. So it really is this 1-2 punch. Yes, there needs to be hard warnings at times in our preaching and our teaching and our Christian life and witness and testimony of how God works with us. We should allow God to challenge us and correct us and, yes, even discipline us. But always undergirded, always supported by encouragement. Listen to this. He goes on, the writer does in verse 9. Dear friends, even though we are talking this way, we really don't think it applies to you. So does the writer of Hebrews think that you could fall away? Yes, but then he comes right back and says, but we don't think it applies to you. We are confident that you were meant for better things, things that come with salvation. One of the things we want to invite you to do today, and as you're watching this for this week even, will you devote yourself for better things? Again, a large part of chapter 5 and chapter 6, moving on. Let's move on. Let's continue to grow. Be devoted to better things than just simply salvation. Salvation is the start of our life with Christ. The start. There are better things. Are you moving toward better things? Are you anticipating and expecting better things? The writer of Hebrews is encouraging the Hebrews, be ready and be expecting, and we believe you were meant for better things. Verse 10, for God is not unjust. He will not forget how hard you have worked for him and how you have shown your love to him by caring for other believers as you still do. Be devoted to work hard. Be devoted to work hard for the kingdom. Just be devoted. We're going to work hard for the kingdom. We're going to be devoted to show love to those around us. God's not going to forget that. He's not unjust. He knows that. He sees that. A couple more here. Verse 11. Our great desire is that you will keep on loving others as long as life lasts. Listen to that. Keep on loving others as long as life lasts, in order to make certain that what you hope for will come true. Now, do you hear that? There's a little tint of going back to the warning. So I want the writer of Hebrews saying, our great desire is that you will keep on loving others so that your hope will come true. So kind of reverse that passage. If you don't keep loving each other and don't keep working hard for the kingdom, is what you're hoping for going to come true? So there's a little hint back to the warning. Still encouragement. Here's this last verse. Then, as you keep loving others, as you keep working hard for the kingdom, then you will not become spiritually dull and indifferent. That word dull is sluggish. Somebody say sluggish. Kind of the main heart here of this devotion today. Be devoted not to be sluggish. Be devoted not to be sluggish. He says, then you will not become spiritually dull and indifferent. Instead, you will follow the example of those who are going to inherit God's promises because of their faith and their endurance. John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist movement, and many other great revivalists and great men and women of God have said really similar things. Do not be slothful. Do not be idle. John Wesley would warn and encourage and exhort his people and his pastors, don't be idle. You've heard the saying, right? Idle hands or the devil's work. So that's what this passage means here right now is the writer is saying, don't be idle, don't be slothful, don't be sluggish, don't grow spiritually dull. If it's possible to slip away, if it's possible to slip away from God, then if the line is here, how close to the line do you want to be? You want to be way far from that line, right? And the way to be way far from the line of slipping away from God, keep working for God. Keep loving others. Do not grow sluggish and do not grow spiritually dull. Do not become idle. All right? So let's be devoted, not to be sluggish. Let's be devoted to keep working hard for the kingdom. Amen? Be blessed and be devoted.